This phone here comes to take the reign from last year's Desire 500 mid-ranger, sporting dual SIM capabilities too and quite a similar spec sheet. This is Daniel from PhoneArena presenting the HTC Desire 501. It has completely revamped looks compared to the Desire 500, supports 3G connectivity this time, has more internal memory and a larger battery. In the software department, however, the Desire 501 takes a step back, shipping with an older version of Android and an even older version of the HTC Sense user interface. Does it make it a less compelling handset? Let's find out. Desire 501 sports a pretty glossy plastic chassis which can be had in several colors. We have the light pink variety with checkered pattern on the back. Thankfully, it lacks the cheapo feel often associated with that material and market segment. The smartphone is well built, has no squeaky parts, and fingerprints are barely noticeable on the shiny surface, though we'd imagine it will be different with the black option, of course. We get a circular metallic plate around the camera area on the back and a metallic cutout for the front camera lens, so the overall design leaves quite a positive premium impression. The phone sports a pretty LED light behind the front speaker grille too. The handset fits very nicely in the palm, thanks to its curvy backside, and its touchscreen can be operated single-handedly with ease. The buttons are metallic, easy to feel and press without looking, and with decent tactile feedback. The power key situated on the top is with a more shallow feedback than the volume rocker on the right, but nothing frustrating. Desire 501 flaunts a removable back cover with a cumbersome prying effort from the micro USB port side. Lifting the lid off reveals the user replaceable battery, the micro SD card slot, and the 2 micro SIM card slots. The phone has a 4.3-inch Super LCD screen of acceptable quality. Its resolution is 480 by 800 pixels, which is okay given the smartphone's class with 217 ppi count. Still, fuzzy edges in graphics are easy to spot with the naked eye, regardless of whether you're surfing the internet, reading an article, or just looking at the icons on your home screen. Other than that, the screen on the Desire 501 is pretty decent actually, with colors a tad blown up. The viewing angles are wide and the display is sure bright enough to be usable outdoors, as long as the sun is not shining straight at it, of course. We've got Sense 4.5 user interface loaded on the Desire 501, quoting the almost 2-year-old Android 4.1 Jelly Bean. This iteration of Sense doesn't have HTC Blink Feed, the news and social status aggregator, as well as the HTC Zoe collage maker that comes standard with HTC Sense 5.0 and above, for instance. This version is characterized by a lot of animations and colorful 3D elements, and in terms of actual functionality, it's a mixed bag. We don't like that oft-used functions tend to get buried down in the menus, and simple actions like adjusting the screen brightness are unnecessarily complicated, for example. Moreover, the heavier visuals don't run as smooth and seamless as the newer simplified Sense editions, so prep yourself for some lag while swiping and scrolling, though it's nothing you can't live with. The Sense is a pretty uniform looking and functional interface with a lot of helpful features otherwise, but this default on-screen keyboard here on the Desire 501 is not one of those. The keys are squished too tight to one another with little distinction, making you tap 2 or 3 at once. The 4.3-inch screen size means you can do that tapping with one hand without having to prop the phone with the other, as is the case with so many big screen handsets these days. One of the selling points for the Desire 501 is that it supports active dual SIM functionality, meaning that you can get a call on the second card while talking on the first one, but the faster 3G download speeds, up to 14 megabits per second, can be produced on only one of the SIM card slots. The other one maxes out at edge. There's an app called Duo Network Manager, which takes care of assigning you preferred SIM slot. You can rename the cards with it, and you can turn the individual connections on or off. The phone comes with a 1.2 GHz dual-core Nova Thor processor and Mali 400 graphics. This chipset is far from the speediest out there, so while we can confirm that the phone is responsive most of the time, we were annoyed by the sometimes laggy process of switching between apps or interface elements. When it comes to gaming, most games will run fine, but some of those heavier 3D titles might run at unimpressive frame rates. HTC has put 1 GB of RAM in the handset and 8 GB of internal memory, of which 5 GB are user available, plus a micro SD slot with up to 32 GB card support. The stock web browser on the phone is okay, but we have definitely seen better. In terms of speed, it loads web pages in a timely manner, and we can't complain about lack of responsiveness while interacting with them. However, the zooming gesture behaves weirdly, causing the page to shift to the side when you zoom out. Having the text reflow features turned off eliminates the issue. We must mention that the web browser comes with built-in Adobe Flash support, but don't expect it to work perfectly on all pages. The phone sports European Asian network setup, and you can enjoy 3G download speeds on the primary card, while the other slot supports 2G only. The handset also features Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4.0, NFC and DONA, which is a pretty decent laundry list for the category. Editing capabilities are staple for the HTC Sense Gallery, and the photos can be shared through multiple venues, including directly to your social network. Music playback with the stock player is aided by automatic download of album art, artist info and lyrics where available, and you have SoundHound track recognition functionality built right into the app's interface. The built-in speaker is average. It's okay in terms of sound quality for a cell speaker, but its strength is not nearly enough to hear it in noisy environments. The phone plays MPEG-4, XVAD and MKV files up to 720p resolution with no issues, though the player isn't licensed for DivX video support for some reason, so you'd have to resort to the Play Store and install a third-party app for that. The 8-megapixel camera is joined by an LED flash on the back, and we also have a 2-megapixel frontal shooter. These are managed by HTC's Sense camera app, which here doesn't include extra options like HDR shots panorama. Launching the app and taking the first pic from the lock screen takes about 3 seconds, which is bearable, but shot times are not as instantaneous as it is customary with HTC phones lately. The pictures exhibit accurate color representation and an amount of detail we'd expect from the 8-megapixel camera resolution. The scene's exposure and color measurements are correct in most situations and somewhat underexposed in others, but overall you'd have a helpful little snapper on you with the Desire 501 most of the times. The video capture situation is less impressive than the stills, as the phone records with 720p resolution and 30 frames per second on paper, but when we tried it outdoors, the HD footage was garbled and unusable. We had to switch to lower resolution to record one, hopefully a problem with our unit only. The phone's single mic picked quite a lot of wind noise while filming too, drowning our narrating voice in the process. The Desire 501 is a fine upgrade from its predecessor, introducing a design that stands out in its price range and adding extra features where it counts most. It fuses well together basic hardware with some more upscale features, like a good 8-megapixel camera on the back and this eye-catching, youthful design lines. There are hiccups, however, like the older software that the handset ships with or the iffy camera application. Still, HTC has priced it adequately in the sub-$300 segment, so a few trade-offs can be expected. Unfortunately, in that price range, you can get a much better phone now, like the dual SIM version of the Moto G. That one has a larger display with high resolution and a more powerful processor, not to mention it is already on KitKat. For less money, you can get the LG Optimus L7 II with similar specs, though a much larger battery. If you shell out only a bit more, you can also get a thin and light 5-incher like the Alcatel One Touch Idol X with a beautiful 1080p display and a 13-megapixel camera, though it's not a dual SIM active device like this one here. All in all, if the Desire 501's youthful compact design grabs you and you need a dual SIM handset, it is a pretty good choice, so you won't have buyer's remorse that you could have gotten a much better handset for the money. This was a video review of the HTC Desire 501 from PhoneArena. For more information about this and other handsets, you can visit us at PhoneArena.com. Thanks for watching.